AJ Johnson, NBA draft player scouting report. This is a guy that we are split on, Riley, because he's 54th on our collective big board. I have him 61st overall, just missing the cut of being drafted. You have him 48th. You are the highest of all four of us who worked on this project together on AJ Johnson. AJ, for you college basketball fans out there, he was a fringe five-star out of high school. He was the 24th rated player in the country. He had Texas on his list as a serious option for a while, some other big schools. And then, nope, I'm going to the NBL. That's what AJ Johnson said. And it went okay, I would say. The numbers are not pretty. Like single digit scoring, just did not play much in his one season in the NBL. So now we're left to try and figure out what to do with this explosive 6'5", 160-pound combo guard that people loved out of high school, and I don't think know what to make of his game now. What is one word to describe AJ Johnson?
I said highlights because if you watch his NBL highlights, they're special. Like he's nailing threes off the bounce. He's dunking on dudes. He's throwing no look passes. But then when you take a peek behind the curtain, and I will say the highs are in the youth and the high school pedigree is why I still have him as a top 50 pick and why I think he'd be worth a gamble at that stage. But like you mentioned, you take a peek behind the curtain. He played 8 minutes per game for the Illawarra Hawks. And that is slightly alarming to me that it was like I tried watching some Hawks games and I'm like, how do you even evaluate this guy? Because they're just not playing him.
Yeah. Yeah, he is like and I don't mean to slam the NBL with this, but like this is the prototypical example of why I view it as a red flag when high school kids list the NBL as an option. Because every player that I've heard of or seen go to the NBL ends up playing like 10 minutes and that's it. And then goes to the draft and nobody knows who they are. And I'm sure someday there'll be a player that knocks it out of the park and it works. We've seen a bunch of great guys from various professional leagues have a bunch of success in the NBA, but it's one of those things. I would have loved to see what he did in college because I think there's a lot of college teams who would have played him 30 minutes a game. And instead, we're like just cutting up small moments of one play a game where he barely even got on the court. And you don't know what to make of it. My word to describe AJ Johnson was mixtape because every highlight I see of him is like a wow play. Like there's no quiet AJ Johnson plays. And I'm even doubly impressed that that's the case given how little he played in real games. Cause it's like no look passes, step back shots, like bouncy above the rim, creative stuff. It's fun. I just don't know how real any of it is. And I guess we'll find out. Is he more likely to hit his floor or his ceiling in the NBA?
It pains me to say, but floor. And that's just, I've said this on some of our other videos, but being realistic, mathematically speaking, weak draft class, not everybody can hit their ceiling. And yeah, I think there's a real chance he is still raw, didn't really develop a ton in the NBL, which I guess you could argue the opposite. You know, he had time playing against grown men in a tough league, and maybe that helps him. But I think the safer bet is sitting his floor.
Yeah, I said ceiling, and it's just because of how wowed I am by the wow plays. Like I
Well,
think the ceiling's high enough. You got to acknowledge it, you know?
there's even that, like, we did a video breaking down the combine winners and losers. I don't know if you remember this, G, but I said AJ Johnson was my winner because my AJ Johnson scored 13 points in a game and dunked on somebody, whereas you were looking at a box score where he was like 1 for 8 and had 4 points. So it's like, yeah, the highs are really, they do, they make you open your eyes a little bit, but it's just like, is he going to be able to
Yeah.
recreate that consistently?
The highs are impressive enough to me. I'm going to say he somehow stumbles into it, and maybe I'll be wrong, but for a guy who's mocked so low, it feels like the highs are legit compared to a lot of other guys in this draft. What's a good team fit that you would like to see AJ Johnson land on?
Said Spurs just because let me see. I had a note for they're picking 48th and maybe he's available at that point. And I just think that's a team that get as many bites as the apple as you can for backcourt talent. That was their biggest need this past year. And if you take a point guard at 4 and number 8, like Nikola Topic and Reed Shepard, like many people are mocking, why not triple down on it with AJ Johnson in the second round?
I don't hate that whatsoever. I went to Indiana Pacers just because I would like to see his creativity in a free-flowing, fast
Mm.
system the way the Pacers have been. But again, that's selfish for me. I don't know that the Pacers would play him because they're pretty playoff ready, and I don't know where AJ Johnson fits into that. What's his best season in the NBA look like statistically?
12 points, 4 boards, 4 assists.
Ooh, that's good. I went 9 points, 2 assists, and I was worried I'm being a little too rosy, but yeah, I mean I will not be surprised at all if he has like one really, really good year in the NBA, or maybe even more than one.
Mhm.
Could happen. Where is he in 5 years? The options here could be starter, bench, overseas G League, or podcaster. Or if you really want to, you could do all NBA or all star, but I don't think either one of us are gonna go there.
Yeah, I said bench, and I know it. I think his ceiling, if he really hits it, is a starter or a part-time starter. I don't think that's going to happen. That's why to explain why maybe that seems a little contradictory. But yeah, why I would still have him as a top 50 pick is a bet on the upside, bet on the youth that he figures it out and can become a good bench piece in due time.
I went bench guy as well. I think there's a really good chance he's a top 10 talent on whatever organization he's in 5 years. It's just, does the rest of it make sense enough for him to be in the role that he deserves? But I think it's a good chance. He is most likely to what? Out of all players in this draft, AJ Johnson is the most likely player to what?
Most likely to gas up a coach he never played for. And by that I mean Rodney Terry. Like I could see him tweeting out or posting on like yeah, definitely tweeting out if Rodney Terry hot seat rumors resurface. It's like, man, RT, I was ready to go play for the Longhorns. RT's a good man, good coach, but that NBL like the NBL was just too appealing or something. Like going to bat for RT if he ends up back on the hot seat.
There's an Instagram story that's like a picture from his visit 7 years ago. It's like,
Yes.
my guy, handshake emoji. I could see that. I like yours way better than mine. I said AJ Johnson is most likely to play for 3 different teams in one calendar year. Just
Could
like
see
a
that as
bop
well.
around. People keep buying lottery tickets at AJ Johnson, and none of them commit to him long term. And yeah, we'll see if the journeyman career becomes true. If you like this video, there's 74 more of these on the channel. Go check them out. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.